Hello, friends, and welcome back to Athens Off the Record. I'm your host, Cameron J., and together we continue to explore the music makers, MVPs, and shakers of the classic city that we all know, love, and call home. Today, I'm very excited about the guests that we have. We have Serra Jagger, who is the founder of Indie South, and let me tell you all, from her shop on Hawthorne Avenue to seasonal markets, this is the place to be. Serra, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So excited to have you here and looking forward to learning more about your story.
Okay, great. I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, tell me, what spark led you to start Indie South? What's the origin story, if you will?
Well, basically the origin story is that I was a maker myself. I would design jewelry, clothing, etc. And I had a short-lived shop called Remnant, and after that, I wanted to continue, but I wasn't ready for the responsibility of a full-time brick and mortar at that time. So
yeah, a lot of responsibility there.
Yes, indeed. So I had been traveling to markets around the Southeast and even a little bit further, and saw that there was kind of a maker renaissance happening. And so I decided that I wanted to start something like that in Athens, and I found a spot for it in a parking lot downtown. And it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, so when someone says, what is Indie South? How do you answer that? A lot of things, I'm sure.
It is a lot of things. It's kind of broad. Obviously it's the events that I was just referencing, but I did decide to open another brick and mortar. It's been almost 9 years ago now, or it has been 9 years ago now.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's been a good run. So we have the seasonal events. We have monthly events at our shop. We have 2 large off-site seasonal events. And then we also have a brick and mortar on Hawthorne Avenue where we carry just a very wide variety of stuff. It's primarily a gift shop, but we have a lot of jewelry, perfumes, incense, vintage clothing, records, plants, lots of home goods, that kind of thing.
Yeah, vintage is certainly my favorite. Gotta say that. Tell me this, a lot of people use the term maker. I used it even in the intro, but for those who are like, well, it sounds obvious, but what is that? How would you describe what a maker is?
I mean, I think it's kind of a cross between an artisan and a designer, especially these days when people have so much access to different tools to be able to manufacture or bring their designs into reality.
Sure.
I think of it as anybody who likes to make things with their hands, likes to design things or draws and does illustrations, that type of stuff.
And how lucky we are to be in a place with so many.
So
makers.
many, yes, so many in Athens.
So tell me, you said you kind of toured the Southeast, saw different markets that were happening in different places. Tell us about the story of, take us back, if you will, to your first market in Athens, what that was like, and how you knew, this is something that we need to look into doing more.
So the first market that I put on in Athens, basically I was looking at potentially doing a Christmas market. I had some encouragement from some folks, and so I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. And I threw it together in about 2 weeks.
As we makers do, right?
Yeah, definitely as I do. I need a deadline and some pressure to get me moving.
Me too. I'm with you.
Joey Tatum offered the parking lot that's on the corner of Clayton and Pulaski. I had rented my first storefront from him as well. And so I just said, hey, would this be okay? And he said, sure, go for it, And nice. It was just a big hit. I had already had a lot of friends within that community, not just here in Athens, but in Atlanta and from a few different other cities and stuff. So it wasn't hard at all to get people on board, and then people really loved it and were immediately saying, well, when's the next one?
Yeah. I love what you do in that you're providing space for other artists and makers as well. It's not just about indie, right? It's about all this stuff coming together and being in one place, which is so remarkable. When you first started, I'm curious, what was the creative scene like then versus where we are today, maybe? What changes have you seen over, the last 9+ years?
Well, a lot. I mean, I started the actual festival almost 20 years ago, so that's been a big amount of time. And that was part of my motivation, was that at that time I felt that there was so much focus on the music scene and people in bands and that kind of stuff that, there wasn't a lot of spotlight on the art scene at that time. And so I was looking to elevate that because I knew people that were making things and maybe selling in one or two boutiques. But I mean, there were definitely people doing things, making things. A lot of it was more, I would say, fine arts, like large scale painting and that sort of thing, than actual craft, which is what we're more oriented towards. But yeah, it was definitely different, but there was definitely plenty of people creating here.
So how many vendors do you typically have at a market or the festival that you're talking about?
So for the big off-site markets, we usually have over 100. The biggest one that we've done, I think, was around 150 vendors, and we've done that a couple of times. So it's a lot. It's a lot of people.
And when can people find those specific times of the year?
Typically, we're doing it in the second weekend of December and the second weekend of May.
Got it. All right. Well, you heard it here. Make sure to be on the lookout for those upcoming things. How do you select makers for the market, or is it just whoever applies? And, how do you make sure that it is in step with the Athens community too, that there's alignment there?
Well, it is curated, and I look for people that have a really strong and cohesive brand or body of work that they're presenting. I definitely love outsider folk art. I like unique things. I don't really eliminate people based on, I guess like the suitability of their work for a specific audience. I like to keep it really diverse, so it isn't necessarily my personal taste all the time, but it's more about the craftsmanship, the quality, how they're referencing modern trends and that kind of thing.
And it's also, I like that word diverse because it's so reflective of the community itself too, the makers that you have.
Absolutely.
So when visitors come to Indy South for the first time, what should they expect when they walk in the door?
Well, it's very eclectic. It's very colorful. I love color. And they should expect to find, a really wide range of gifts and, definitely from some local artists as well. And, and a lot of things to adorn their person and home is how I usually
I'm
put
a
it.
scent person, so a lot of scents, maybe?
Scents are big for me as well. I since I know you have visited the shop, I know you know that. Yeah, we carry a really wide range of incense, and then room sprays, as well as perfume oils, that kind of stuff. I love scent. So
Me too. It makes or breaks a space. That's what I always say.
Yes.
So how do your markets help travelers, and visitors meet the real people behind the work? I'm assuming that at these markets, the creators are there on site to answer questions. What does that look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a way to connect directly with the makers and the artists. We've definitely had plenty of people tell us, oh, wow, I was in town. I didn't know this was happening, but we found out about it. We decided to come. And I think it really connects people directly with the creatives behind the work. And there's a real community vibe there as well. So,
and I'm sure that for the creators and the makers that they're getting like some lifelong customers maybe out of these events too.
Yes, the exposure for them is great, and just meeting people from all over and people that want something, that feels specific to Athens, that was created here and influenced by being here.
Shop local, y'all. Shop local. What small business is such an integral part of Athens. Though there's been a growth in larger business, of course, I still believe that the movers and shakers are small business owners just like you. So what do you feel the role of the small business in the larger, context of Athens is?
Well, there's the obvious economic role that keeps a lot of the money in the community when you're spending at these shops and supporting local artists. I mean, we have over 150 small brands in our store, and so that's helping.
A lot.
It is, and that's helping sustain a lot of other small businesses. But the money that you're spending at our business is money that we're spending oftentimes at other small businesses as well. We don't really eat or shop at chains very often. My family doesn't, rather.
Me either.
And But I feel like it really it shapes the vibe of the community in a lot of ways. And when I'm visiting other towns, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the locally owned restaurants. I'm looking for the small, quirky boutiques that, somebody who has lived there is curating and bringing in the things that they feel like are a reflection of what people in their town want.
It's so much placemaking too, like it gives identity to the community.
Yes, and that took me a minute to fully understand just how that impact happens. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So why, I'm curious, there's Atlanta nearby, there's Asheville up the road. Clayton is a creative place too. Why do you choose to stay in Athens?
Well, a lot of that has to do with the fact that this became home for me. I have an older child who I raised here. They're 24 now, so they went, to school here and graduated high school at Clark Central. But this has always I've always thought of it as like, it has a small town vibe, but it isn't a big city.
Yes.
I've always felt like pretty safe. I like the walkability of Athens. I've lived in a walkable area for a really long time. I don't know. It just has like a hometown feel for me, but it offers a lot of other things that you only usually find in larger cities.
Yes, and it's like this mix of town and gown that brings all this unique opportunity and perspective, diverse experiences and thought. I love it. I love it. This kind of makes me want to backtrack a little bit. What initially brought you here? Was it Indy South or Remnant?
It was actually UGA, like a lot of people.
Yep.
But I didn't finish school at UGA.
That makes two of us.
College dropouts. I felt a little lost in that I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life path. I was also working at a small locally owned restaurant where there was a lot of people there that were, a few years older than me, and they were super artsy. They were in bands. They were doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I thought, okay, I'll just kind of follow that path. So I stayed, and then I had my daughter, and and it just kept me here because it was that like manageable feel of a small town, but there was enough different and quirky, interesting, creative people here to make me feel very much welcome and at home.
And it's so nice too that we're close enough to other places that
sure.
if we want to go, but
absolutely.
we still have our
and it's usually
feel.
a pretty drive, except for to Atlanta, but
yeah, those red lights need to get out of the way.
Greenville, Asheville, those places, I don't mind driving up there because it's a beautiful drive.
Yeah, I came here as a college student, did 2 years, and then was like, I'm going to go work in the funeral business, which is what everybody says they're going to do when they leave college, right? But I chose to stay because you're right. It is this familial feeling that I have when I'm here. And, I always say that through every interesting part of my life and monumental moment in my life that Athens has held me through those moments. And so I'm sure as a business owner, you've probably had that same experience when it's good, when it's bad, when it's ugly, emotional. Athens really does hold people in a unique way, if that makes sense. So fun question. What is your favorite item or maker that you have featured?
In my store?
In your store, yeah.
Gosh. It would
not to get you in trouble or anything.
I know, right? It's hard to pick just one. Probably, my favorite artist that we feature in the shop is Chris Hubbard. He's also a good friend, so I am a little bit biased, but he truly hand makes and hand paints every single thing that he makes. All of his pieces, even the ones that he's duplicating, are unique. And and I love what he brings. Again, it's an interesting mix of like Southern but weird,
That's a good way of describing Athens. Southern but weird.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding part of doing all of this for you? I mean, I know that you say you get to see so much creativity in so many different mediums, but I can't imagine like when you go home at night, you're just like, wow, I have seen amazing things from so many people.
Oh yeah, definitely. The connections that you make and talking to people and seeing their vision and hearing their stories and how they started creating, what keeps them creating. that stuff is very compelling to me, and it's definitely why I've stuck with Indie South all these years. So
yes, well, we are here today due to our friends at Visit Athens, and so I'm curious, how many out-of-towners do you get coming in? I mean, I'm sure
tons.
yeah. An out-of-towner comes to a market for the first time. What should they expect?
Well, they should expect to meet lots of local artists, but also regional artists. We usually have a handful of food trucks. And I think that they should expect, too, to just really see the community turning out and everybody in usually what's a pretty good festive mood, socializing with each other, socializing with the artists, and finding unique things.
I love it. What's next for Indie South? Any new things on the horizon or big goals over the next few years?
Well,
you can share, of
yes,
course.
Right. Some of that's classified. My biggest goals, I guess, are just to continue, growing the markets. I definitely am somewhat looking for, other locations, especially a large indoor location that we could potentially have the holiday market at, just to avoid inclement weather. But I've also gotten involved with a couple of the other festivals like Porch Fest, Athfest.
So fun.
I'm running the Athfest Artist Market now as well. So, that all ties in. But I honestly have my hands full with what I have going on right now. I also have an 8-year-old son.
Oh, well, that'll
so
do
I'm
it.
not necessarily looking to expand or grow, but I'm looking to continue being sustainable and and continuing just to bring in the different artists and the different things that people are looking for. That is always a fun challenge for me, is to look at the trends, what's hip, what's coming up, and what I think people are wanting to find in our shop.
Yeah, you mentioned Athfest. Since it's a music festival, big draw for tourism. Tell me about the market there. Did you say you're running that? No?
I am. Yeah. I came on for the first time this year, but I really loved it. It was a great experience for me to be part of such a, honestly, very well-run organization.
Yeah,
with
Mary
lots
is doing
of,
a great job.
Yes, 100%. And so many different moving parts, so many different people collaborating. But yeah, and I feel like the artist market has really grown. The festival itself has grown a lot in the past, I would say, 5 years or so. I've seen a change and a shift in the diversity of artists that they're bringing in and the types of offerings that they're putting out for that festival. And I feel like people are responding to that really, really well. And the crowd has gotten way bigger. So it's exciting to me to be part of something on that scale.
I love about it, too, that there's something for everyone. And it's like this intersection, like you say, of music, art, education, kids' fun activities. I mean, every June, so hottest month of the year, right? But
yes.
Really, really great organization. What do you, Sarah, hope that after someone visits your shop or one of your markets that they feel?
Well, I hope they feel a sense of belonging. That's always been a big thing for me, and it's one of the reasons, again, that, I started these events, and even though that was not my primary source of income or my quote-unquote career, I stuck with it, building it for a long time before I was able to turn it into something full-time. But that sense of connection and community with people that tend to be pretty accepting, because a lot of them are quirky and eccentric and creative people as well. That's what's kept me with it. That's what's kept me working with it and growing it. It's the people there and the sense that the inclusivity and that there's space for everybody.
Yeah. So as the markets have evolved, I'm curious to know what changes you've seen in the types of things people are showing up with to showcase, and what trends you might see for the future as well.
Well, I'm not a trend forecaster, so.
Are you sure?
But, initially when I started the markets, that was... social media was in its infancy, if it had even began at all. So it definitely, and the same thing with, having the computer in your hand.
There was a time, y'all, without it.
Yes, there was a time of flip phones. So, I think that, people were making things that were a little bit maybe more made, I don't want to say in a vacuum, but definitely not as influenced by bigger, broader trends. And so it may be like that they were into making wreaths. I guess kind of what you might think is like crafts with a K, if that resonates at all.
It does.
Like stuff that could maybe be a little more like country or grandmotherly, that type of thing. And I always definitely tried to err toward the side of more modern artists, but you know, you had a lot more of that type of thing, or something that was made from, you know, kits or what have you. And then I've watched trends come and go. I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of Bath and Body and the illustrations.
Oh, like soaps and such.
Exactly, right. Yeah, candles have always been a big one. But as things have evolved, I mean, ceramics has become really, really huge in the last handful of years, and specifically ceramics that people draw on or carve. It's not just about the glazes now. It's a little bit more about like a personal touch of artistry. Customization is super popular, so people can offer that as a service. A lot of people like to offer, the permanent jewelry or making.
Oh yeah, that's huge right now.
And I think what's really pushed things to evolve is, as I mentioned earlier, the accessibility of tools that normally would have been in a factory or somebody who was a manufacturer. You know, things like 3D printing have really changed the game, and just more professional tools that people have at their disposal. People can make their own stickers from their own designs without having to send
access
those off.
to learning too?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that there is a makerspace on the horizon here in Athens. I keep hearing rumors about
We'll
that.
check into that.
Yeah. And and then just the laser cutters that can cut metal and that kind of stuff. So there's just so much more that people can do with their ideas, where they don't necessarily have to be personally hand making that or investing thousands of dollars into really expensive equipment and having, a space set for that and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a good example is a friend of mine was saying she had no one to teach her how to crochet. But now she gets on YouTube and is amazing at it, right?
Absolutely.
So she's teaching herself.
It's funny that you brought that up. Crochet is another one that has become really, really big because it's so versatile. It's not just the scarves, the hats, the wearables. It's the little critters and
candle
fun.
holders.
Yes.
So cute.
Yes, you can adapt crochet to a lot.
Yes, it's a great medium. So, how do you feel the Athens creative community, the markets that you put on, the storefront as well, how do you think that all of that kind of works together to contribute to Athens being a destination place?
Well, I know that a lot of people, I mean, we really do get a lot of out-of-town visitors at our shop, and that's partly due to y'all's support. Yes. But it's partly due to our reach on social media as well, where people see our shop and think, I've got to go and check this out. Because I love just, creating beautiful spaces and merchandising and everything. But Athens has, several small businesses that are like that. Treehouse Community, KA Artist Shop come to mind, of places that are just really interesting and unique and creative, and places, that people are like, I just need to see this in person. I want to see this in person, So if they're just coming into town for an event or for something that's business related, then a lot of times, they might book that extra night just so that they can explore the city a lot, because they feel like that there is more to be seen. I think people also are really drawn to some of the thrifting here, because there's quite a few thrift stores in a pretty concentrated area for a town our size. And then, of course, there's also Motherlode that has a lot of different booths that include both vintage and handmade. Yes. So, we've got these spaces that definitely make it worth a day trip. As far as my events personally go, I mean, for people that enjoy that type of thing, or that are looking for things for, unique things for their home, unique things as gifts, then, it's well worth a day trip or even a weekend trip. Because again, you're going to have all that stuff concentrated in one place. Those artists are going to be right there. We definitely have people traveling to meet certain artists that do our events because they want to have a conversation with them. They want to hear about their inspiration, their process, and how they make their things.
Like, how far away do people come as far as makers go to be a part of what you're doing here?
So again, we're in our almost 20th year now, and so we have had people come from as far away as, Philadelphia,
Wow.
Chicago, out west. And a lot of those folks will be coming because they want to see Athens and they want to be part of Athens and see what we do here.
Absolutely.
And so they already have this idea of what Athens is in their head, and they're like, I'm going to go and do this event and festival and get to explore Athens and hang out at the restaurants and go to the bars and clubs afterwards.
Yes. Or a game, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great.
Although I try to avoid game day weekends for my events.
Good idea. Yeah. It's like everyone's competing for that one Saturday
Oh,
in the
yeah.
fall when there's
Forget it.
nothing going on.
Forget it in the fall. Yeah.
Go Dogs, though. So I guess, Sarah, if you had a magic wand and could wave it and make anything happen in the maker and creative space in Athens, what would that be?
Well, I think it was what I mentioned that I feel like, again, it's on the horizon. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming or when, but I do think Athens needs a more dedicated maker space. I feel like there's a couple of spaces that, maybe do laser cutting or some 3D printing for folks, but I think something that would encompass more than that, which of course we have the Linden House, which is amazing. And then the art school, which, you can't access if you're not a student, but there's so many great resources there too. But yeah, I would just love to see the expansion on that, where people can go in and either get a membership or, or even a day pass or something along those lines.
Almost like
and
a
just
maker's
play around.
co-work type situation.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. And building on that, we also know that we are in a time and space where experiences are a really big thing to people. Beyond just having things, having an experience, a moment. So I'm curious what your outlook is on current happenings as it relates to people getting involved with the art that they like to consume, or what that could look like in the future.
Well, like I said, I think we have a couple of spaces in town that are definitely offering opportunities for engagement. Linden House, Good Dirt Studios also comes to mind. With Indie South, we have dabbled in various things like that. We did a jewelry class back in the spring, and I think that we're going to be expanding on some of that,
I'd love to see that
very soon. Yes, with local artist Amy Peroni, who is fabulous and who I love. And it's definitely something that I would like to bring in more with the festivals as well. It's always a matter of finding those people who have a mobile studio. We have had glass blowers at our events.
I love glass blowing. It's so beautiful.
It is. It's kind
So
of mesmerizing to watch. You can just sort of get lost in it.
It really is.
But yeah, that is definitely something that I would like to see more of and be able to incorporate more of. And a lot of times it does involve, though, getting people who may be a little bit further out to be able to bring that mobile studio and set that up. But we have kids activities and craft activities and stuff at our events as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, I like to see that type of thing as well.
I do too.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's do a glass blowing class.
That would be fun and a little dangerous.
Yeah, a little dangerous. A lot of dangerous for me. We have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I think they did send you these. So first question I have is, what is your favorite hidden gem in the Classic City?
So this is tough for me because I feel like not much is quote unquote hidden.
It's really true. We do a good job. Good job.
Y'all do a great
Athens.
job. I love the outdoor spaces. I love the botanical gardens and the various events that they host there. I love the Greenway. I love different spots along the Broad, and there are some hidden spots along the Broad River that are really beautiful. Of course, Broad River Outpost and kayaking down the river is really fun.
Oh my gosh, 8 hours on that, and I'm
Yeah.
I need a nap.
It'll take it out of you for sure. But yeah, I like being outdoors, and I think Athens offers a lot for that. So yeah.
Many parks.
So many parks.
What's your favorite park?
So much green space. Probably Memorial.
Yeah, I like it. I like it small.
Yeah.
Very good trails back in the woods there too.
Yes.
Let's see. What about your top Athens memory?
So I don't know. That is also a hard one to pin down because I've been here for 30 years and I don't know how to pick one thing. But honestly, probably my favorite memories in Athens are just going to house parties, seeing bands play at house shows, sneaking into an apartment complex pool at night, just looking for things to get into after hours and usually finding it, climbing the Chase Street Water Tower.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, that's an experience in and of itself.
I know that's not necessarily something we would recommend to visitors, but...
we don't recommend this at home.
But yeah, those are my favorite memories of Athens. It's just after hours fun and just kind of roaming the Boulevard Normaltown area, which is where I've been based almost my entire time in Athens. And seeing what I can find.
There's a lot to get into. I jokingly was remembering that I read when I first moved here that there were 90 bars within 1 square mile.
Yes.
Which is a lot.
And how many are there now? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
But I think we should do the math on that and get back to people. That's a great idea. You mentioned AthFest, so I'm going to take that one out of the running.
Okay.
What about an annual event or festival that you, Sarah, never miss?
I mean, it's definitely a tie between Porch Fest and Wild Rumpus. I love both of those events. There's so much happening with Wild Rumpus, and the way that Tim has grown that has been really incredible to watch as well. And I love costumes and dressing up and that kind of thing. And then I feel like Porch Fest just is also an event that really brings people together, and it's such a great tie-in to all the various neighborhoods. And and that is becoming a real draw for out of towners.
Right? Like it's
I believe they're in their 6th or 7th. I should know this since I'm working with them. But they're in their 7th year maybe, and but it's just the way that it's grown in such a short time, and the way that again you're going door to door or block to block, and you're seeing the same familiar faces, and you're kind of getting to build that rapport and that familiarity. And so I love that neighbors are meeting each other and people are connecting in an organic way around
with
that.
Our online culture, it's so good to get out of the phone, off the social media, and into your life. That's what I jokingly say.
100%. Yeah.
Sarah, as we kind of close this up, you have been so direct. Good job. Like you got these questions really good. Best one yet. Tell me this, what advice do you have for makers that may be watching or listening to the podcast on how to get involved, how to, stay active with their craft?
Well, I think that the advice I always give to anybody starting out is what I did, which was, just start where you are, start small. You don't have to have something that involves, expensive equipment or a lot of overhead. It's fine to build things, step by step and feel things out. And that's one of the great things about markets, and especially like our monthly market, which is super accessible and affordable, is that, you can just come and try things out, set up a table. You don't even have to set up a tent, and you get that real world, real time feedback from people walking around, and you get to talk to people and kind of hear what they have to say in a way that you can't get just from, posting on social media or starting an Etsy shop or something along those lines. But really, I think so much of it is just connecting with the community, and that means the buying community, but also the artist community, because you're going to talk to your fellow artists while you're sitting there running your booth, and they're going to say, "Oh, your stuff would do great at this event or this festival," or "Hey, I'm doing this pop up next week." Some
collaboration, maybe,
and sometimes collaboration, right? And so, and I would say the maker community is very organic, but also supportive in that way. So,
I love that. Monthly market. Tell people how to find that and what to expect there.
So it's every third Saturday at our shop. We've got space for about 35 vendors or so, but it just depends on who signs up. And it's only from 11 to 3, so it's a half day. It's not a huge commitment. It's not a big monetary commitment. It's $35 for a 10 by 10 space, and our signups are on our website, and you just look at the drop-down menu, pick your date, pick several dates if you want to.
There you go.
And sign up. So.
All right, you heard it here, y'all. Get to registering and meet us at Indie South. Tell us your website where people can find you on socials.
It is www.theindiesouth.com.
The Indie South. And on social media?
The same The Indie South on Instagram and Facebook.
Great, great. Well, Sarah, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us on Athens Off the Record. We're so excited to have you. Thank you for joining in and tuning in. Remember, you can always learn more about Visit Athens and our Visitors Bureau at visitathensga.com. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you right back here in Athens.